let me start recording. And alrighty, so I have, it looks like I have 10 people, actually 8 people in the Collaborate session. I've sent out several emails since last week, so I'm sure everyone knows the protocol. Let me take you to discussion. The first thing you will need to do, is to sign into today's forum, right? Okay, everyone, because I would there are 25 people. There are 25 people on the roster. It's a full class. So I would expect to see 25 people here in today's forum. Now, I don't know why Eric has 2 threads. Is there Donald Glivens? Donald, you have to, you need to, you're responding to someone else's thread. You need to, look, Donald, I don't know if Donald, you have to create your own thread. Okay? Donald, because I wouldn't go into someone's thread to, yeah, I see you are here, but I'm gonna delete that. So this is like your sign-in sheet. Okay, this is your physical record of attendance. So don't forget to do this. This is the first thing you will need to do. And there are only 7 people, which means, okay, I see 9 people. Okay, so two more people. 2 more people need to sign into today's forum. Someone said hello. Isara Jimenez. Okay. Isara, did you sign in? Did you sign into? Please sign into today's forum. Okay. Because this, yeah, please do so, because this is not the record, because after the class is over, although I record the video, but I cannot go through the video to check the list, because this list changes in time, over time. So basically you need to sign into, oh, what did I do? Okay, now I see 12 people. Okay, now I see 12 people. Good. So please do this first, right? The first thing first. Donald Glivens. Do I see Donald? I'm sure Donald is here. No, why don't I? Donald Glivens. Okay, Donald isn't here. This is the problem. All right. So I don't think I need to go over the intro again, because since last week I've been sending you several emails. So the first thing you need to do, of course, sign into the discussion. Every day this forum will open exactly at 6 p.m. Okay, today and tomorrow is going to open at, it's not available yet, but tomorrow at 6 p.m. it's going to open. And this class is conducted by pre-recorded videos. In other words, um, I've made course materials. So today's the first day, but today's material, today's, okay. Andreas, are you there, Andreas? Okay, you don't, this is not, you don't do attendance reporting here. Andreas, okay, are you there, Andreas? Andreas, Andreas, okay? Andreas Gori, let's see. I don't see Andreas Gori here. I don't see Donald Glevens either. Okay. So Andreas, okay, Andreas, please. Andreas must have. So, although today's topic is, ROI videos part one through part three, part six, this was pre-released already 2 days ago. So it's like this every day. You see, if you go to the course materials, this was already, this folder was already open on the 18th, and you are, so today's materials were already, today's videos were already released already 2 days ago. They're going to be there for 5 days, and then this is actually tomorrow's material, but yesterday they were released. So you have to study them in advance, okay? And the collaborate session is purely a time for reflection, time for discussion and reflection, okay? And because some people couldn't understand, some people didn't completely comprehend the material. We need some time to regurgitate on it. So collaborate session is for regurgitating on the materials covered in the pre-recorded lecture, pre-recorded video. So please study ahead. And since summer 2 is only 5 weeks, and it's only 20 sessions, four days a week times 5, so 20. So if you don't study in advance, there is absolutely no way we can cover everything in 5 weeks through just collaborate session. So again, collaborate session is only for reflection, review, and discussion. Okay. Now, and Andreas, you are here, Andreas. So Andreas, I wonder if you reported attendance in the in today's forum, right?
I did another thread.
What?
I did the thread incorrectly at
No,
first.
no, 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 Andreas. I told you probably you were not there when I. Oh, okay, good, good. Now you're there. Now you're there. Good, very good.
All right.
Now there was Donald Glevens. Where's Donald Glevens? I don't see Donald Glevens here. So unless I see your names here, uh, I'm afraid there is no physical record of your attendance. So it's very important. This is your sign-in sheet. Please keep in mind, this is your sign-in sheet. Okay? So nobody can deny that you were present as long as there's a Donald Glevens somehow replied to someone's thread. No, this is you have to create your own thread, right? That is not if you simply reply to someone else's, there's no way I can check everybody's thread if there is a comment or reply to that. There's no way I can do that. I just don't have time for that. So once again, um, okay, Isora Jimenez. Let's see if you are Isora Jimenez. Yeah, you're there. Isora Jimenez. All right. So as I said, you need to study in advance. The lecture videos are released 2 days in advance, 2 days in advance, and so if you go into the course material, right? Actually, today is 7:20, but I'm hoping to finish this by next Monday. But uh, you know, unless you study in advance, unless you cover all these materials in advance, there's no way we can do that. So actually, all of the lecture videos in the first topic is already available. So if you haven't done yet, I mean, you still have until throughout this weekend. Through this weekend, you have all the time to uh, uh, study these videos. And these videos are posted for 5 days. So what was released on the 18th will be there until the 23rd. But what is released yesterday will be there until 24th and something like that. Again, since I have already sent out emails to you, you would understand pretty much, what's going on with syllabus there. Textbook information is there. And I said, okay, attendance is 10% of your grade, basically, just basically, but it can be more than 10%. Once again, every day, your attendance will count as 0.25 points, right? And so think about it. 4 days per week, 5 weeks, right? So 0.25 times 4 times 5 is going to add up to 5 points. For that to be 10%, there should be other 5 points. Other 5 points come from your participation. So every once in a while, I'm going to ask you a question, and if you give me a great answer, you'll earn 2 points. If you give me a good answer, you earn 1 point. If you give me an average answer, you're going to earn 0.5. So think about it. If you have a perfect attendance, that's 5 points, right? And then so let me let me show you this way. If you have oops, now this is going to give me a hard time. And where is the perfect attendance? Is 5 points. And then the other 5 participation. So this is how you answer my questions. Participation. It can be more than 5 points. It can be more than 5 points. Now think about it. If you give me throughout the entire semester or throughout the entire summer, if you give me 10 average answer, that's going to be 5 points. Or if you give me 10 great answer, 10 good answer, that's going to be 10 points. So, and then if you give me, what happened? Where did it go? If you give me 10 great answers, that's going to be 20 points. Now think about it. With 10 good answers, it's going to add up to 15 points, right? If you give me 20 great answers, 10 great answers, it's going to be 25 points. Now 25 points will think about it. Originally, attendance and participation were supposed to be 10% or 10 points. So that means 90% of your this gives me a hard time. What do I do now? Oh yeah. Now that's what I'm asking for. Okay. So 90% of your grade comes from 2 exams plus 2 quiz. What is going on here? Quiz is also an exam. You think quiz is a pop-up quiz? No. In my class, quiz is also a fully developed, fully fledged exam. Okay, it's just called quiz because their weight is smaller, 20% each. 2 exams, 25% each. How do I use the whole screen? This is giving me a hard time. Oops. So 25%. So think about it. 2 exams times 25%. That's of course midterm and final, right? 2 times 25 is 50%. 2 quizzes times 20%, that's 40%. So if you got 100 in every exam and every quiz, right, they will add up to 90 points or 90%. And then the other 10% is attendance. But from this, you can do better. You can do much better. If you got, let's say, in attendance, you got 20 points. What is? And if you got 90 points from exams and quiz, right, you will get, that will add up to, and then you got 20 points from attendance and participation. That will be 110, right? It's going to be 110. So that will put you at a much, that will put you on a much better position than rest of your class, the rest of your class, and the rest of the class. But suppose you didn't do well. You didn't do well in the exams. You didn't do. Let's say you didn't do well in the exams. So the total of your exams and quiz is 65. But if you got 25 in the attendance and participation, this will bring it to 90, right? So attendance and participation is very important, because what you might lack in the exam, you can make up by participation. You can make up by participation, right? So this is, basically how it's going to work. Now the syllabus is here. Here's something I already explained, I believe. I'm not going to go into syllabus again, because I already explained. Here in the announcement about the textbook, right? We don't, during the regular semester, we use Connect, which is the McGraw-Hill's online platform. We're not going to use, during the summer, we don't have time to use Connect. So, and summer, it's, fast-paced. So you don't have to buy the 5th edition. And in the market, if you go to in the second-hand, in the pre-owned book market or second-hand book market, used book market, there will be plenty of 4th editions, right? And you will, there will be a bargain hunt. You can really hunt for a bargain, okay? Whatever, used book, just buy a used book, okay? From whatever, bargain you can find. I believe this was also sent out already. I believe somebody dropped some. Oh, okay, Tanya McPherson. Tanya, yeah, go ahead, Tanya.
Hi, Professor. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. My question is about the textbook in terms of assignments.
Okay. No, the assignments won't be from the textbook. Again, during the regular semester, there will be end of chapter problems, end of the chapter problems assigned from Connect. But as I said, during the summer we don't have time for Connect, right? So there will be no there will be no chapter problems to be assigned from Connect. Okay, but there will be as I said, 2 quizzes and midterm and final. These quizzes are not pop-up quiz; it's fully fledged exam, and there will be 2 self-diagnostic tests. Okay, there will be 2 on top of 2 self-diagnostic tests. So you will have total 6. So 2 self-diagnostic tests will be that will keep you very busy. I mean, 6 exams, 6 tests, that will keep you very busy. Okay, we have only 5 weeks. Yeah, Isora Jimenez, go ahead, Isora.
Hi, Professor. You can hear me?
Yeah, how are you? Yeah, how are you?
I'm okay. My question is about the book. When I click the link
About what?
by us,
About
it's about the book.
yeah.
When I click the links that you provide to us,
Mhm.
it told me that they had the book out of the market. So where I can get the book?
You just I already explained. Just look up. Just go to Amazon and buy any used book. Okay. What am I doing?
Okay,
I was
thank
already
you.
talking about that. Yeah. I was already talking about that. Look.
Professor, can I just ask you another quick question about the exams and quizzes?
Yeah. Hold on, please. Um, I already said, Isora, this email, this announcement was already emailed out to you. It says, uh, although I'm using 5th edition, but you don't need 5th edition because I don't use Connect during the summer. So you can get any 4th edition. That's fine, right? Used book will be, very cheap. I said there's going to be a bargain hunt, right? There's be a-
Okay,
And uh,
that's me.
and okay, so who else was asking? Someone was asking. Someone said, was it Tanya?
Yes, sir. I was just, could you tell us, just give us some insight on what the exams will be? Will they be essay questions, multiple choice?
Uh, there's no essay. Okay, first of all, there's no essay. Um, it will be a combination of multiple choice and mathematical questions. Okay, so combination of multiple choice and short answer math questions. Okay, but there's no. It's really difficult to explain it verbally. You haven't got into. You haven't got to the bridge. I mean, you can only see what the bridge looks like when you get to the bridge. And before you get to the bridge, it's just too premature to think about what the bridge will look like, or how you're gonna cross the bridge. I mean, you're not just there. When you're there, you will know. Okay. Now, I see only 12 people. Now, according on the roster, there are 25 people on the roster, and not even half is attending now. So this is, once again, if you don't, if I don't see your, again, if I don't see your name here, you cannot be marked as present. Okay, you cannot be marked as present. So I still don't see Donald Glivens. I'm concerned because he replied to Eric's posting, but that I deleted it because I wanted Donald to create his own thread. Uh, you know, unless he creates his own thread, there's no physical proof that he was here, because I don't see Donald Glivens here either, right? And that's going to be, so there's no proof of attendance, right? He didn't participate in class at all, if I don't see any record. All righty. So one more thing. I've turned on my camera, and so I also want you to turn on your camera at least once throughout the summer session. Next time, I'm not going to turn on the camera, but I have my profile picture. I want you to use your profile picture at least. If you're not turning on your camera, right? If you're not turning on your camera, use profile picture. And you know how to. You see this, right? The gear icon. If you click on that, you can upload your profile picture. Okay, so please do that. Please do that. If you don't want to use, if you don't want to turn on your camera, that's fine. But at least use your profile picture. Okay? I don't see anybody using. Okay, one person, Tamika. Only Tamika. What about the other people? Andreas, are you there, Andreas? Andreas. Bria, Benjamin, Bria. Corey Soto, Corey.
Here.
Okay, Corey, please post your profile picture. DeAndre, Jean-Paul, are you there? Yeah, please post, use your profile picture.
I'm sorry, that's what we want.
If you're not turning on your camera, please use your profile picture. Eric, the same thing. Grace, are you there, Grace?
Hi.
Yeah, hi, please use your profile picture. I mean, it doesn't take that much effort. Ifat, are you there? Ifat, please.
Hello, Professor. Yes, I'm
yeah,
here.
hi.
How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you? Please.
I'm good.
You heard me, right? If you're not turning on your camera, please use your profile picture. Thank you, Juming. Isora, please use your profile picture. Lear, please use your profile picture, right? Makin, yeah, Lear, please use Makin. Please use your profile picture if you're not turning on your camera. Tanya, the same thing, please. Okay. Now, yeah, DeAndre, go ahead, DeAndre.
Yes, Professor. I just wanted to make sure you hear me. I didn't know if my mic was working when you asked me, when you called my name.
Oh yeah, now I can hear you loud and clear, and I can even see you. I can see you, even see you have your camera on, right? So at least if your camera is not on, please use your profile picture. Okay. Now that's too much for. I mean, enough of. It's already 30 minutes past the hour, so we got to get to today's material. Now, so the first thing we want to talk about is the return. Okay, what is the return is basically the main reason why. Okay. So the return is the central concept in finance. And the return is, in other words, rate of return. In other words, it's percentage. has to be in percentage, right? Now, we already understand easily. I mean, suppose just on this Monday was 18th, right? This Monday, there was, did anybody notice something about Google? If anybody is watching the stock market, something happened to Google on this day.
There was a split.
Yeah, there was a split. Who was that? Who said that?
DeAndre.
Okay.
DeAndre.
Yeah, DeAndre. I'm gonna give you 0.5 point for that because I mean this wasn't a very difficult question. It's a straightforward fact, but that means at least DeAndre is watching the market, right? At least DeAndre is watching the market. So yeah. Today is 0720 fnb100. DeAndre, I got 0.5 for that answer. Yeah, what happened on Monday? Google was Google was, yes, okay, 24-1, right? Okay, so who was that? Was it Makin? I'm gonna, yeah, yeah, Makin Gao. I'm gonna give you also 0.5. Making 0.5 because stock split, that's redundant information already. DeAndre answered that, but you additional information you added 22-1, 24-1. Now of course stock split doesn't doesn't make any difference because previously it was trading. There was a slight, there was a slight change, but previously Google was trading for like $2,300 per share. Then it split 22-1. So think about it. Simply, if it was $2,400, you divide it by 20. I mean, if you had one share of Google prior to Monday, July 18th, it was worth $2,400. But on Monday, you divide it by 20. So you have 20 shares. If you had previously one share, now you have 20 shares. And each share, theoretically, each share should be 2,400 divided by 20. So it should be $120, right? So your total holding, value of your total holding doesn't change, but what you used to have just one share, but now you have 20 shares. Okay, so there's stock split, but actually, after split, it was like $114. Now today, I think it is. Let's see. I guess you can see this too. Yeah, today it is about 114. And it's slightly down. But think about it. It's not the price that matters, right? It's not the price that matters. Where was I? Because whether it is $2,400 or whether it is $100, suppose now you're buying. Let's say you're buying. Google is 100. Let's say Google is 100 now. I know some people are typing. Yeah. 113. Yeah, it's somewhere around 113, 114. So the point is, let's say Google is $100. Now you can, if you buy 10 shares of Google, that's $1,000, right? We all know. So next page. So if you buy 10 shares, the value of your total value of your holding is 1,000. Now this is today, and 1 year later. So this is today. 1 year later, let's say. Let's say. Let's say it's 1.5K 1 year later. Basically, how much did it grow? By 50%, right? The value grew by 50%, and growth rate is not exactly return, but you can also say the return over 1 year is 50%. Now, it doesn't matter whether the price of the share is $100 or $2,400. I mean, is it better for $100 stock to grow to $150 over 1 year, or is it better? Is it better for $2,000 stock to grow to $2,400? Which one is better?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. Which one is better?
Which one?
Wait, hold on.
There's a difference. I mean, is it better? I mean, do you prefer this or do you prefer this? I cannot, you see, when I can't see what's going on in the chat box, so please say it. I can't see what's going on because I'm on my screen. What I'm seeing is this whiteboard. Okay. Which one is better? Anyone?
I have a question, Professor.
Yeah. Who is this?
On number 2, oh, Tamika.
Tamika.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Question. So on number 2, isn't it like a 50% growth rate? You know, number 1, it's not a 50% growth rate. If we're not talking about the money part, it would be number 2.
Yeah, of course. We're talking about money part. I mean, in other words, we're talking about money. I mean, what else is there? If your money grew by 50%, and in number 1, how much did it grow? It grew by 20% only. Isn't that right? The growth rate is 20% only. Isn't that right? So between 50% and 20%, which one do you prefer? Obviously,
number 2.
20. Number 2. Number 2. And this. Who was that? Tamika? Was it Tamika?
Yes, Tamika.
Tamika. Okay. I don't want to make any. I don't want to write down somebody else's name. So let's see. Let me make sure.
Okay.
I don't want to make a mistake and write down somebody. Okay. So Okay, so this is you. Tamika, this is you,
Yes,
right?
this is me. Yes.
Perkin.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Tamika, I'll give you 1 point. There's a reason, a thought process involved in it. Tamika.
Thanks. Thank you.
Tamika. You're welcome. So now think about it. What's the, what's the deal here? The deal is, okay, so you might say, but this is $2,000 and $2,400. Doesn't matter. If you had $2,000, you can do one of the two things. This was a $2,000 stock. Number one is $2,000 stock, right? And you can buy only one share, and it grew 20%. Number two is $100 stock, and it grew by 50%. Suppose you had $2,000, you can do either one of the two things. You can buy one share of $2,000 stock, or you can buy 20 shares of $100 stock, right? So anyway, if you bought 20 shares of $100 stock, 20 shares, right? It would have 1 year later, it would have grown 50%, and it must have become $3,000, right? Makes sense? $3,000. So think about it. It's not the price that matters, it's the return that matters, right? Return is the essential concept in finance, very crucial concept in finance, and you want to maximize your return, right? You want to maximize your return. So the reason the return is in percentage. If the return is in percentage, you can compare. I mean, if you don't use percentage, I mean, in sheer number, this looks better. Number one looks better, but actually, in percentage, we can tell number two is better. Now, another thing. So here, we now move on to the next concept called, holding period return. I wish I could still use the, okay. Holding period return. So holding period is literally, the period during which you're holding this asset. And in the previous example, we were holding it for 1 year, right? But we don't necessarily hold it for just 1 year, right? Some people may hold a stock for 6 months, or some people may hold it for 2 years, or 3 months, or just 10 days. So what matters is the, suppose, you had stock A and you had stock B, and the holding period for stock A was 3 months. Holding period for stock B was 2 years. Okay, and then let's say the return on stock B was 50%. What do I do? It's like this area is completely useless. Let's say, so return on stock B is 50%, and return on stock A is 20%. Now, can you compare which one is better? Can you compare which one is better? Can you tell which one is better?
The 50%.
First
But
one
that's
is better. The first one.
First one is better. We don't know that. First, why? First of all, you can't tell that just the way it is now. Why? Think about it. 50% return is over 2 years, and the 20% return is over 3 months. You might think, oh, if I got 20% for 3 months, then I could have got much more for 2 years. Well, yes and no, because reality isn't always that simple. Because just because 3 month return was 20%, it doesn't guarantee that one year return would be 4 times this. There's no guarantee that 1 year return is 4 times 20%. It's not going to be, right? You might have been extremely lucky for those 3 months, right? And the other, out of 1 year, the other 9 months couldn't have been that great. It might not have been that great. Also, extending it for 2 years, I mean, there's no way you can directly, so in other words, you cannot directly compare 3 month holding period, 3 month return from holding it for 3 years and return from the return on stock B from holding it for 2 years. Okay? So what do we need to do? Then we have to annualize. We have to annualize these 2 different returns. Annualize. So basically on annual basis. Okay? Need to annualize. You might think, oh, so if I annualize it, once again, so for 3 months it's 20%, so times 4, isn't it? No, as I said, there's no way how the remaining 9 months, how it behaved, how the stock A behaved during the remaining 9 months, the other 9 months. And there's no, just because over 2 years it was 50%, you might say, oh, if I divide it by 2, then must be 25% a year. No, not necessarily so. I mean, if I had 2 years, it's easier than figuring out stock A, figuring out what annual return might have been for stock A, but it's easier than that. But still, it's not just 50% divided by 2. Okay, we're gonna get to the question of annualizing later. We're gonna get to that later. But first, so let's define the holding period return. That was, it was already explained in the. So holding period return is basically, now when we talk about return, we have 2 time points. Think about it, isn't that right? We have 2 time points. In our example, 2021, if it is 1 year, 2022, right? Suppose you bought a stock at the end of 2021, and if you hold it for 1 year, it will be end of 2022. So that means, beginning of the holding period and end of the holding period. Okay? And at the beginning, there's a price you paid, and let's call that price at time t. So t means time. It can be like, price at 2021. Okay, and then price at time t plus 1, if it is 1 year, which in our example can be like, price at the end of 2022. If you bought the stock at the end of 2021, so that is the beginning. And then, so it's not the beginning of the year. That's when you bought the stock. So and always end of the year, right? Let's say, just to make it, because if you bought the stock at the beginning of 2021 and held it until the end of 2022, it's not 1 year, it's 2 years. Isn't that right? Hmm? So we have to assume if the holding period is 1 year, they have to be consistent. In other words, if you bought it at the beginning of 2001, then beginning of 2022 is the end of the holding period. If you bought it at the end of 2021, end of 2022 will be, we'll make it 1 year. Okay? So now, and the concept is, if you were holding it for 1 year, if the holding period is 1 year, that end point is called P subscript T plus 1. Okay? If P subscript T was 2021, 1 year later, T plus 1, well, it will be 2022. Make sense? Right? Now, this way, we can express, okay, 2026. Then, price at the end of 2026 will be expressed as P subscript T plus 5. Makes sense? Because that's 5 years later. Okay? So this way, we can, so think about it. Over 5 years, if the price must have changed, right? The change in price could be positive or negative. But let's say the price change was positive. Of course, that means price has increased. So basically, the way you calculate the return or the growth rate is, obviously you will have to subtract the growth portion. So PT plus N minus PT. So what is that? It's like price at the end of 2026 minus price at 2021. Right? That will give you capital appreciation, right? That will give you capital appreciation. Capital appreciation literally means, how much the capital has appreciated, right? Let's hope this is, being recorded. Okay, it's being recorded. What was I? And then, so if the price, at the end of 2026 was, let's say, 250, and then price at the end of 2020 was 100, obviously 150, there was a price appreciation of $150, or capital gains of $150, right? And you have to divide it by what you originally paid, right? So this is, basically, this will give you the growth rate over n period. So here, in our example, I used 5 years, but holding period can be anything. It doesn't have to be just 5 years. It can be 10 years. It can be 10 years. It can be 6 years. It can be 20 years, right? So that's why I don't fix it. I will leave it as n. Okay, so n can take on any value. But now, think about it. The stock doesn't only stocks do have two cash flow. Stocks have two sources of cash flow. One is growth, right? Growth in price or capital gains. Another one is dividends. Not all the stocks pay dividends, but a lot of stocks pay dividends. Most, but if they pay dividends, quarterly, right? And over 5 years, then there will be how many dividends paid, over 5 years? Well, there will be like 20, because I told you they pay dividends quarterly, and for 5 years, 4 times 5. Now, of course, if you sum all of them, I mean, annually for dividends, if they pay 25 cents, if they pay 25-cent dividend per share, right? Or during at the end of the year, you'll have received $1 dividend, right, per share. If you have 1,000 shares, then $1,000. So over 5 years, at least there will be 5 annual dividends. Then let's say every year, as I said, if you have some $1 dividend a year, and if you have 1,000 shares, that's going to be $1,000 a year. And in the second year, the dividend may be not just the dividend may be not 25 cents, but it could be 20 cents or 30 cents or whatever. Every year it may be different, or it may still be 25 cents per share. But the point is, all those dividends paid during those years, you'll need to, per share, of course, per share. So if it is, $1, because the return is basically per unit. Return is basically return per unit. I mean, if you you may have 100 shares of Google. You may have 1,000 shares of Google. But whether you have 1,000 shares or one share, the return is the same thing. 1,000 shares, the return on the 1,000 shares cannot be different from the return on one share, because 1,000 shares is just one share times 1,000, right? So if you received, during these 5 years, if you received all those dividends, now we just call it we generalize it in generic term. It's called cash flow. So cash flow during all those 5 years, and this symbol. Okay, please turn off your, please mute yourself, because there's a background noise, so please mute your microphone, please. Some people might wonder, and this, I don't need to do this again because it was already explained in the main lecture videos. Now, what is this? That's summation. In other words, our dividends. Now there must have been a dividend in, we'll call it cash flow. Cash flow in year 1, and there is a cash flow in year 2. Cash flow year 3. Cash flow in year 4. Cash flow in year 5. I mean, do we have to write it like this? If it is just 5 years, I mean, probably we can write it like that. But if it is like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, this is going to take a lot of space. So instead of doing this, we simply use Greek character sigma. Greek character sigma is S, so which stands for sum. And by using, time subscript, where t runs from 1 through 5, okay, then that means what? That means exactly, that is a way of is there any way I can write further? Okay, you understand, right? There is, CF cash flow 5 there. You don't want to do this. This is a tedious thing, right? If you have to write it out like that, that's what the elementary school does. What they do in elementary school. You can do it up to a certain point, like for 5 years. But if it is like 100 years, 200 years, and of course, you don't live 200 years, but so this is a way of making it compact. You understand? This is a way of making it compact, right? Because all you need to do is just substitute or permutate. When t is 1, is CF1. Because it's sum, that means summation. Next will be added. The next one will be CF2. Because time runs from 1 through 5. You repeat it up to 5. Okay, makes sense? You repeat it up to 5. But instead of writing it like this, which is very childish way of doing that, grown-ups would write it this way. Okay, grown up means, not just physically grown up, but intellectual grown ups would write it this way. Okay? So now that brings us back to, so this is the formula for holding period return. Okay? This is how you express it. Now, I think it is, what's the time? Oh, okay, almost 7:15. So we need to take a break. We'll take a 10-minute break and reconvene at 7:25. Okay, we'll reconvene at 7:25. All right, let's take a 10-minute. All right, we're back. We're back. So I want you to go to our course materials. Now we're gonna do the exercise in a holding period return, right? So here, if you go to today's folder, the topic folder, right? Which says return on investment, and there are these files that are that you need basically to go together, to use it together with my lecture videos. So this is a PDF file, so it's a reader. This is an Excel file. This is some, graphic data file. This is just a picture file. So let's do this: house value and geometric average. Okay. You need to download this file. So everyone is with me now? Everyone? Are you guys there?
Yes.
I'm here.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. So please download this file. This is an Excel file. Don't just open it, because I know they have improved. Blackboard has been improved. So when you click on that link, it opens the file within its own browser. But no, this is no good. You have to actually download it. Okay, you'll need to actually download it. And one more thing. I'm currently using Chromebook. The Chromebook is so good. I mean, the only reason I'm using this Chromebook is because it's got a touch screen. I can do, it's got touch screen, right? That's the only reason. I have another computer which has touch screen, but not a Chromebook. So I'm going to use it from the next class. But the reason I'm using the Chromebook is because some of the students are using the computer that they've loaned from the college. And then sometimes they get the Chromebook. And if you have Chromebook, it's so difficult because you cannot, Chromebook doesn't allow you to download Microsoft Office package. They want you to use Google Spreadsheet. But then Google Spreadsheet is so limited. You can't do anything on Google Spreadsheet. But there's a way you can use Excel on Chromebook, because through the college, BMCC provides you the access to Office 365, which is basically how you use these apps, softwares, Excel and other things online, only online, right? And whatever, it also gives you OneDrive, some storage space in OneDrive. So if you have through Office 365, you can use Excel. Of course, there's a limitation, but still, whatever we need to do for this class, you can do using Excel through Office 365. So again, it's very slow, but I would do it either anyway. I would have to use it. So from tomorrow, I'm going to use my other computer, but this is what it looks like if you download this file. And if you use Chromebook, again, if you download using Office 365, you can also open it like this. Now here, I used an example to previously. I used an example of stock that pays dividend, right? Remember, I used an example of stock paying dividend to explain holding period return, and it's a bit like I can compare it to to owning a house, okay? Because you will see the parallel there. First, here's the example. The example, of course, is telling you you bought a house. Let's say you bought a house at the end of 2005. This is the end of the year, right? And of course, just for convenience, just for the sake of convenience, we'll assume you bought the house at the end of 2005. And the value of the house at the end of 2005 was $150,000. And then you held it until the end of 2016. You owned the house until the end of 2016. And at the end of 2016, let's say you sold the house for $500,000, and the house value moved like this at the end of each year. At the end of 2006, it was like this. 2007, 2008, right? So there can be two scenarios. One, think about it. When you have a house, you can do one of the two things. One, it is your home. It's your residence. It's a place. It's basically your residence, right? Place to live. That's one thing. Second thing that can happen, suppose you have a big house, three-story house, like 6 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and you are just a one-person household, or you and let's say you have a spouse. There's just 2 people live in that house, and it's awfully big for just 2 of you. So you can rent out. You can use one floor. Let's say you use top floor, and the other 2 floors you can rent it out, right? You can rent out the other 2 floors. So if that's the case, so scenario 1 is just using that house as your residence. Scenario 2 is you rent it out. Now, if you rent it out, there will be additional income, isn't that right? Because you rent it out, there will be a rental income. But if you don't rent it out, the only source of cash flow will be appreciation of house value. Isn't that right? The appreciation of house value. So this is the thing. The appreciation of house value is called capital gains. Okay. Okay. Now, in scenario 1, let's say between year 2005 2006, the capital gains was 30,000. right? So let me do this. I'm gonna, oops. I'm gonna stop using the and we can calculate year to year, or annual capital gains or price appreciation, right? Now, the price appreciation is also called capital gains. Think about it. If you have a house, it's your equity, it's your capital, right? It's not when you bought the house for $150,000. If you paid it out of your pocket, it's entirely 100% your equity. It's 100% of your equity capital. If you got a loan from the bank for $100,000, then the ratio of equity capital and loan, the debt, is 3 to 1. I mean, 2 to 1. 2 to 1, right? Out of 150, 100,000 was loan, 50,000 was your own equity, your own money. So the ratio is 2 to 1, right? Also, it's called, the capital structure is, you can say the capital structure is 67% debt, 33% equity. 1/3 is equity, 2/3 was loan, is debt, right? But anyway, so the appreciation or depreciation, mostly appreciation of your house value, equity, your capital value is called capital gains. That's why it's called capital gains. Now, it's not difficult to find capital gains. All you need to do is the next year's house value minus the previous year house value, right? Hit enter. I want you to do this too. You need to do this together. Do you all have this file in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, good. And if you have it in front of you, please delete everything in column C. Oh, of course, you can delete this too. If you're not, I'm using Chromebook. That's why it's more difficult to do this. But if it is not Chromebook, you can just highlight and just delete. Because on Chromebook there's no delete key. So if you cleared out everything in column C, right? The first thing here in C2, what you need to do is simple. Between 2016 and 2015, the difference is basically the capital gains, right? Appreciation of your house value. And from there on, you need to repeatedly do it. All you need to do is once you select C2, you see the selected cell. You know which cell is selected because there's a border line there, but the border line is broken in here. That's called, I would call it southeast corner, but this corner, there's a square dot. That square dot means if you put your cursor there, right? If you put your cursor there, it's ready to copy. Excel is ready to copy. So what you need to do is gently hold down your left mouse button and just drag it down. Okay? Even that thing was copied. So I'm gonna no. Even the circle, right, was copied. But you know what gets copied is the formula. Okay, not the number, not the. You see, the formula got copied, and the formula adjusts automatically to its own environment. Formula adjusts to its own positioning. So now we have capital appreciation or capital gains year by year. Now this one, that's a negative number, of course. Think about it. Between 2006 and 2007, actually the house value went down. So negative number in Excel is expressed by parenthesis or by minus. There are three ways. Minus sign. It can be minus sign in front of the number. There can be minus sign. Or it can be expressed by red font. But you know, otherwise, you know, it's in the parentheses. There was a capital loss. The opposite of capital gain is capital loss, of course. But capital loss is negative capital gain. We can call it negative capital gain, right? And then also there was, you know, capital loss in between 2013 and 2012, right? And then there was no change between 2014 and 2015. Now, think about it. If we sum all of these capital gains, so I'm going to sum. But first of all, before doing that, what is the total capital appreciation, or what is the total value, house value appreciation between 2005 and 2016?
It's 350,000.
Yeah, you're right. And who was this?
DeAndre.
I'm going to give you another 0.5. Okay. Yeah, of course. You bought it for 150K, sold it for 500K. So the difference is B2 minus B13. Okay. Now I'm going to have to. I don't like. Where's Georgia? Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind. Okay. Yeah. 350K. So that's the house value growth or capital appreciation during this 11-year holding period. Right? Now, if you want to calculate holding period return, but also the same number, you can arrive at the same number by adding up all the numbers in this column, because the individualized year by year house value appreciation is in column C. So if you sum all of them, or you can use sum command, or you can use auto sum, and here's the auto sum, right? And then then you'll have to highlight all of these, right? C2 through C12. I should come to the same number. I don't know why I just removed. I mean, the formatting shouldn't change, but so I'm gonna have to. might think the formatting is only cosmetic. Actually, yeah, but it makes sure if the default font is really unappealing. I mean, it makes you more tired. It makes your eyes tired, right? If it is the default. So I always change the font, because if it is, when you're dealing with a lot of numerical data, and if the font is really not, if the font is unappealing, it makes you more tired. It makes your eyes really, really tired. I don't like small font because it's painful to my eyes. And so the default font is really, So anyway, either you can arrive at the same conclusion this way or this way. Doesn't matter. So now, let's calculate the return for this holding period, right? In scenario one, under scenario one. So under scenario one, you just use the house as your residence. So the only source of cash flow is the house value appreciation. It's not difficult to calculate it. You simply divide. Capital gains, right? Which is PT plus 11 minus PT. It's 11 years. Was it 11 years? Yeah, it's 11 years, right? So if I write it mathematically, where is, okay. That n is 11. Isn't that right? That n is 11. PT plus 11 minus PT. So PT was 2005 house price. PT plus 11 is 2016 house price. And then this is 0 for now. There's no cash flow because you didn't rent it out, right? So it's completely scenario one, where you don't rent out the house, you only use it as your residence. So therefore, now this is why I don't like Chrome, and it's not. It's also the RAM size, 4 GB. That's very minimal. So if you look into what is this, C14 is basically PT plus 11 minus PT, right? Because C14 is basically capital gains during that period. 233% is the holding period return, right? During this holding period, right? 11-year holding period. However, let's think about scenario 2. And the scenario 2, now you're renting it out. But the first year you rented it out was, 2009. Not obviously, you bought it at the end of 2005. There was no way you can rent it out during 2005. If ever, the rental will start from 2006. But for the first 3 years, there was no rental. You didn't rent it out. Started to rent it out from 2009. And then annually, the rent income was, 18,000, which seems like, the rent was you see $1,500 a month. Okay, $1,500 a month. For the first 2 years, it was like that, and you raised it a little. You raised it 10%. You raised the rent by 10%, 10% increase, and then here you raise the rent to 2,000. Okay, and then for the throughout the rest of the period, throughout the rest of the holding period, the rent was $2,000 a month. But then think about it. This is like the dividend. This is like the dividend in stock. You have additional income, additional cash flow, right? So then we do the same thing. You can sum everything here and copy this, right? Copy this, paste it, drag it to the right, so the formula gets pasted. So that will give you sum of all the cash flows. That means now you've done this. Not only the capital gains, but also sum of all the cash flows. Right? Make sense? So now think about it. If you were holding a stock for 11 years, there could have been price appreciation over 11 years, right? Which is called capital gains. And annually, this is year by year increase in stock price. And then if the stock paid dividends, right? These are annual dividends. Of course, for the first 3 years, there was no dividend. So scenario 2 is just like the stock, right? Although this is house example, but scenario 2 is just like the dividend paying stock. Okay? So now, if we calculate the holding period return with cash flow, previously it was without cash flow. Now with cash flow, think about it. C14 is capital gains. C14 is exactly this, PT plus 11 minus PT, capital gains. And then D14 is sum of all rental income, or like dividends, and then you divide it by initial purchase price. Initial purchase price of 100, and then it comes to 347, almost 348%. Okay, but this is a holding period. Again, it looks like you did well. You did well. This is net return over 11 years. Net return over 11 years. Gross return will be 100% more than this. But anyway, if your house value tripled, over 11 years, 10, 11 years, oh, that's a good return, don't you think? What kind of asset triples in value over 11 years? There are some stocks that do better than that, but if it is real estate, property is like real estate, over 10 years, if the value tripled, it was a real good investment, isn't that right? But then the thing is, your holding period was 11 years. And if you want to compare it with your friend who also bought a house, he he doubled, but his holding period was only 5 years or 7 years. Now, how do you compare that? How do you know who did better? Once again, if the holding period is different, there's no direct comparison. I mean, it's hard to make direct comparison. So what do? We have to annualize it. Annualize. But then annualize, what does annualize mean? It's taking annual average of annual returns. So you might think, oh, okay, then what is column F? Column F is basically annual growth rate, right? Let's take a look. What is this? C2 over B3. So this is what? Annual capital gain or annual house value price appreciation between 2015 and 2016, right? So to find return for 1 year, you have to divide this by the value at the beginning, okay? And then the rest of them, you do the same thing. So let's do this. Maybe this was filled in. I want you to clear that. Yeah. No, what did I do? I want you to clear everything. Okay. Then the growth rate is capital gain for that 1 year, 2015, 2016, divided by the value of the house at the end of 2015. There you go, that's 20.77. Are you guys also doing this? You need to do this because otherwise,
Yes.
Yeah, good. And then if you have found the first one between 2015 and 2016, then the rest of it is you just copy and drag it down, right? We got that. Year by year. So you might think, oh, so if I take the average of all of that, that must be the annualized return. The answer is no. Why? If you think about taking average of all that, that concept is called simple average or arithmetic average. Simple average or arithmetic average. So what is? Let me open then. The discussion of simple average and arithmetic average is treated here in this file. And also it was discussed in depth in my lecture videos, right? So I think some is. So I'm not going to open that file again. Maybe. But we can't use simple average in this case. Why? Simple average is static. In other words, simple average or arithmetic average is something you use. Arithmetic average is something you use when the data points don't have any different weight. Okay? So other than simple average, there are two other averages. One is weighted average, and the other one is geometric average. Geometric average. Oh, I cannot move it up. So then I'll have to. The simple average versus weighted average versus geometric average. I'll just call it geometric average. Now, let me briefly explain why. First of all, okay, where was I here? The reason you cannot simply take the, you might say, oh, if I take the average of those, right? That must be it. Yeah, well, in a way, that's called arithmetic. In a way, yeah, that's a rough idea about it. Because when we say annualize, that means each year actual annual returns will be all different. Actual annual returns will be all different. But you want to take the, if you take the average, you can roughly consider that annualized return, because annualizing means averaging all annual returns. But then it is slightly off. Why? Because this is something that happens over time. In other words, we know in the first year between 2005 and 2006, so that's actually during 2006, because end of 2000, you have to also understand, end of 2005 is the same thing as the beginning of 2006, isn't it right? End of 2005 is like December 31st, 11:59 p.m. December 31st, 2005. That's the end of 2005. And actually, 11:59 minutes and 59 seconds. And once it's the 60 seconds, then that's January 1st. 0 hour, 0 minutes, 0 second, January 1st, 2006. Isn't that right? So end of time t is the same thing as the beginning of time t plus 1. You understand? So if you bought it at the end of, if you bought the house at the end of 2005, this $30,000 house value increase happened actually throughout 2006. Okay, so the growth was 20%, and then next year the growth was negative. Actually, next year the growth was negative, isn't it right? And then the following year, the next year, growth was significant. But think about it. Suppose if this was, let's say, not negative, but 10% growth, let's say positive 10% growth, that growth was the growth upon that growth, 10% growth was the growth upon that 20% growth. In other words, they are not separate. The 10% growth is correlated, or it's actually on top of the 20% growth. that happened in the first year, right? So there's a compounding going on here. I mean, if something grows over time, there's a compounding. What is compounding? Compounding is snowballing, right? Like, suppose you are standing on top of the, suppose you're standing on the top of a snow-covered mountain, snow-capped mountain, snow-covered. And then you make a snowball on top of the mountain. And you drop the snowball at first. Now the snowball is just the size of your fist because you made it. And as it rolls down the hill, the snowball will get bigger and bigger. But then think about it. The rate at which it's growing will accelerate. The rate at which it grows will accelerate. It rolls down the hill. Why? Because the diameter of the ball, is growing at an increasing rate. Isn't that right? The snowball will pick up more and more snow. It's not the snowball is not picking up the snow at the same rate every time it rolls down. Right? If it picks up in the first round, if it picks up, let's say, if it picks up, 10 ounces of snow, 10 ounces, I don't know how much, but as it rotates, as it runs down, as it rolls down, because the size of the ball gets bigger and bigger, surface area gets bigger. So the snow that it gathers, the amount of snow it gathers, will not be constant. It will compound. Make sense? With each revolution of the snowball, it will gather more snow. It will pick up more and more snow. And why is this happening? Because the surface area of the snowball is growing at an increasing rate. It's growing at an increasing rate, it's not growing at a constant rate, right? Because as the ball gets bigger, right, it will pick up more snow. As it picks up more snow, the size gets bigger, so it will pick up increasingly more snow. So it's not at a constant rate. So that's what the compounding is. Compounding is if you put $10,000 in the bank today, and if the bank pays 10% interest a year, 1 year later there will be $11,000 in your account. If you keep it in the bank for 2 years, how much will there be? You think, oh, it's for 2 years and every year is 10%, so it's going to be 12,000. No, it's going to be 12.2 thousand, right? 12.2K. Why? Because at the end of year 1, there will be 11K. That 11K is sitting in your account at the beginning of year 2, and that 11K is earning 10%. It's not 10K is earning in. It's not the 10K that earns interest in year 2, right? It's 11K that's going to earn interest, 10% in year 2. In year 1, 10K, principal of 10K was earning 10%, but then in year 2, 11K is earning 10%. So by the end of year 2, there will be 12.2K. And then in year 3, 12.2K is sitting in your account at the beginning of year 3, and 12.2K is earning 10%. So by the end of year 3, we'll have something more than 13K, right? This is compounding, the same idea. So over time, there's a compounding effect. So when there's a compounding, which means growth effect going on through time, you cannot do this. This is wrong, right? Arithmetic average is close. Actually, so the correct average when there's a compounding effect over time is geometric average. And geometric average is slightly below arithmetic average. And so arithmetic average is overstating. It's overstating the true annualized return. Okay, so that is why we cannot simply rely on simple average, because what you think of average is just adding up everything and dividing it by the number of data points, right? But that's simple average. But that cannot work. That doesn't work when there's a compounding effect. So we have to use geometric average. And what is weighted average? Now, weighted average is when each data point has different weight. When each data point has different weight, so we're almost out of time, so we cannot talk about this today. So I will have to talk about this tomorrow. Now, I'm recording this live session, so at the end of the day, I will post the link to this recording. So if you want to revisit this lecture, so this lecture is actually triple kill, isn't that right? First of all, there is pre-recorded video released 2 days ahead. So I want you to study in advance, and in the in the collaborate session, we regurgitate or we reflect on the main lecture, which is the main lecture is the pre-recorded videos, and then after that, I post the recording of the live session, so you can revisit it later. It's like triple kill, okay? Like triple kill. Alrighty, so I think that's all the time we have for today. Any questions, anyone? Any questions? Now, again, of course, I cannot. The class is dismissed, at 8:15. If you have any questions, send me an email, or I have office hour between before this class. So my office, I have another class, business to 10, before this one, between 3 o'clock and 5:15. So my office hour has to be wedged between the two. So here's the link. Here's the link. And if you have any question, you can come to my office hour. But just to allocate the time, evenly between, so it's only 30 minutes. Probably I can only accommodate one person, and I have 2 classes. So the best thing is, if you send me an email, to schedule an appointment, that would be the best. Because for 30 minutes, I can accommodate only 2 people. And if the question is very long, if it takes long for one person, I cannot accommodate the second person. So the best thing is to send me an email in advance, right? To schedule and confirm your appointment. All right, everyone. So have a good evening. Have a great evening, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. Okay.
See you tomorrow, Professor.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Professor.
Take care, everyone. All right, take care, everyone. So.